You know how it is, maybe you're talking late at night or you read something interesting and suddenly you're thinking about those stories, the ones that don't quite fit the everyday explanation.
Mm. Hmm.
You, our listener, search for something about the real stories behind ghost legends in India. And it got us thinking. Let's explore this.
Absolutely. And what really stood out looking at that search is just how, fascinated people still are with these kinds of narratives. We've gathered info on some of the really well-known Bhoot Ki Kahanian ghost stories from different parts of India,
Right.
focusing on places where, well, a lot of people have reported things, experiences that seem a bit beyond the ordinary.
Okay, so our goal here, it isn't really to prove or disprove anything, is it?
Not at all.
Instead, we want to dive into the legends themselves,
Yeah.
the specific things people claim happened, and really try to get a feel for why these places are so resonant, culturally speaking.
Exactly. Think of it as exploring belief, storytelling, but anchored in these actual locations. It's about unpacking the stories.
Yeah, what are the common threads? What anxieties, maybe, or hopes do they tap into?
Precisely. And how do these tales get told and retold and, kept alive?
Okay, let's start with the big one, a place that always seems to pop up. Bangar Fort in Rajasthan,
Ah, yes.
in the Alwar district. It's not just some old ruin. There's a very specific, kind of dramatic story attached.
Yeah, what's really compelling about Bongar is that central legend, the curse. You often find these kinds of origin stories for haunted historical sites, don't you?
Definitely.
This one involves a wizard, a princess he wanted, and this magical charm that went wrong. It apparently led to this curse on the fort and, well, the death of everyone inside.
It's a really powerful story,
Mhm.
and it seems like it's really, really stuck. You hear so many claims about weird sounds,
Uh-huh.
voices with no source, whispers, even though there's no wind. And people even claim to see like figures or shadows, especially near sunset.
Mhm.
It's so much a part of the local belief that the Archaeological Survey of India, the ASI, actually has signs warning people off after dark.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Does that official notice sort of amplify the belief, you think?
I'd imagine so. It adds this layer of, official intrigue. Reinforces what people are already saying.
It does. And the reports themselves, they're quite consistent. Lots of accounts mention hearing distinct sounds,
Mhm.
voices in what's mostly a deserted, quiet ruin, especially at night.
Yeah.
And the visual stuff too, seeing shadows move or figures just out of the corner of your eye, that's a common theme in these kinds of places. Makes you wonder about suggestion, shared belief,
Yeah,
how that shapes perception.
definitely. Okay, so from a cursed fort, let's travel, still in Rajasthan, but near Jaisalmer, to this abandoned village, Kuldora.
Ah, Kuldara, the ghost town.
Yeah, this one feels different. It wasn't like a battle or disaster. It
Yeah.
seems it was just emptied
Oh.
overnight, deliberately.
The story behind Kuldhara is, well, it's quite striking. It's about community resistance, really. Legend says there was this powerful, cruel ruler
Yeah.
who wanted to force the village chief's daughter into marriage. And rather than agree, the entire village, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of people, they just vanished,
Wow, just like that.
seemingly into thin air.
Hmm.
And supposedly, as they left, they cursed the village so no one could ever live there again.
That's some defiance.
Yeah.
Talk about a haunting legacy. So what do people report there? Is it dramatic apparitions like Bongar or...
It seems less about seeing full figures, more about atmosphere
Yeah.
and strange occurrences.
Like what?
Well, there are reports of odd noises, yeah, but more commonly it's this feeling, sense of unease, like you're being watched. People mention flickering lights sometimes, even though there's no electricity.
Creepy.
It's the mystery of it, I think. How could a whole community just disappear? That unanswered question, that silence in the empty streets, that itself creates this really uncanny feeling.
Yeah, the silence can be louder than noise sometimes. It really makes you think about how we fill in the gaps, the stories we create for things we can't explain.
Mm.
Okay, let's shift eastward now. Kolkata, the Deccan Shazwar Kali Temple.
Right, a major temple.
Yeah, an active place of worship, which kind of adds an interesting twist to it being considered haunted. How does the sacred mix with the spooky here?
Well, the Dakshine's War legend is more specific, more personal than the big curses in Rajasthan. It centers on the spirit of one woman,
Okay.
someone who is believed to have died tragically, right there within the temple grounds.
Ah, I see. And what do people, like devotees or visitors, say they experience?
Some have claimed they've seen, just for a moment, a woman's figure in the corridors, usually at quieter times, like late at night.
Ah,
Others talk about hearing footsteps when no one else is around. It's a really interesting contrast, isn't it?
yeah.
A holy place, deeply revered, but also thought by some to have this restless spirit.
It is fascinating. Does the intense faith, the emotion in a place like that, maybe make people more open to perceiving things differently?
That's a great question. It certainly could create an atmosphere where unusual feelings or sights are more readily interpreted as, supernatural.
Makes sense. Okay, moving south now. Hyderabad. Ramoji Film City.
Ah, the film city.
Yeah, huge place. One of the biggest film studio complexes anywhere. You wouldn't immediately think ghosts, but apparently it's got quite the rep.
It's definitely intriguing, especially since it's relatively modern compared to, say, Bangar. The stories mostly come from people working there.
Right, on the sets in the complex. Given how busy it is, strange things would stand out even more, I suppose.
Exactly.
So what sort of stuff do the workers report?
Common things are like feeling a presence nearby when no one's there, hearing unexplained sounds, bangs, whispers, seeing things move on their own, lights flickering, doors shutting, that kind of thing.
Hmm. Any theories why?
Well, one idea connects it to the land itself. Maybe spirits of people who died there before the film city was built, or perhaps workers who had accidents during construction. It shows how even new places can quickly gather these kinds of stories.
Yeah, it seems like any place with some kind of history, even recent, can become a backdrop for these tales. Okay, let's head back west-ish. Gujarat. Dumas Beach, near Surat.
Dumas Beach, right? Another interesting one because it's popular with tourists.
Yeah, by day it's just a beach,
Ah.
but it apparently has a very different vibe after dark.
It really has that duality. Busy daytime spot, but the local stories. They paint a much darker picture, especially at night. There's this strong belief it's haunted by spirits of the dead. Locals often warn people not to hang around too late.
Okay, so it's got that local warning thing going on too. What experiences back that up?
Well, accounts often mention eerie whispers, sounding like they come from nowhere. Sudden cold spots or gusts of wind when it's otherwise calm and warm.
Chills.
And yeah, seeing shadowy figures moving along the shore. There are even some more disturbing claims about people disappearing, but those are obviously much harder to confirm.
Right.
Sometimes the fact that there are cremation grounds nearby can feed into these beliefs too. That connection to death and the afterlife.
That definitely adds a chilling layer. Okay, changing geography again. North to Uttarakhand. The Lambi Dehar mines. This sounds grim from the start.
It has a documented tragic history, which almost certainly fuels its haunted reputation. These were working mines, limestone, I believe,
Okay.
but they were shut down after a really large number of workers died. The circumstances were apparently quite mysterious, or at least never fully resolved. That loss, those unanswered questions, it's fertile ground for ghost stories.
A place marked by real tragedy. So what's said about the mines now?
The local stories are full of ghostly sightings, especially at night, naturally. But even people who go near the abandoned mines during the day talk about this heavy feeling.
A sense of dread.
Exactly. An oppressive atmosphere. You see the deserted mine entrances, you know the history. It likely creates a powerful sense of unease all on its own. It's a stark reminder of how real-world disasters can get woven into folklore.
Absolutely. Okay, one last stop. Back to the coast, Mumbai this time. Aksa Beach.
Aksa Beach, another familiar name for many.
Like Gumas, it's a known spot, but carries its own spooky legends.
Very similar dynamic. Beautiful place, but with a reputation. The legends there mostly revolve around drowning victims.
Ah, the sea claiming lives. That's a classic source for ghost stories.
It is. The waters there can be dangerous, so the stories are about the spirits of those who tragically drowned, haunting the shoreline.
And what are the typical experiences people report at Aksa?
Again, things like hearing faint whispers on the breeze. Some claim to see figures sort of emerging from the water, then vanishing.
Wow.
And there's also this feeling some visitors describe like a sudden heaviness, feeling drained of energy, or just feeling watched while they're on the beach, as if something's there.
Like the place itself is drawing something from you.
Maybe. The power of the ocean, the reality of accidents,
Yeah.
and it all feeds into these narratives of restless spirits bound to where they died.
So looking back at all these places, Bangar, Kulthara, Dakshin Zwar, Ramoji, Dumas, Lambi Dehar, Aksa, it's quite a range of stories, isn't it?
It really is. A remarkable diversity in these Bhoot Ki Kahanyan. We've got curses, tragedies, mysteries, defiant acts, lone spirits.
Yeah.
And while, the scientific take on it all is up for debate, You can't deny how persistent these stories are, how widespread.
What really stands out is how each place has its own unique flavor of haunting. It's often tied so closely to its specific history, its local context.
Right. It makes you wonder why these stories in these places have such staying power.
Exactly.
It really gets you thinking about folklore, how it keeps cultural memory alive, maybe reflecting collective fears or unresolved traumas, and just the human need to find meaning, to explain the things we don't understand.
Which I guess leads us to a final thought for you, the listener.
Hmm.
We've taken this journey through these haunted spots in India, heard the legends, the reports. What do you think explains why ghost stories like these are so enduring, not just in India, but everywhere?
Is it just tradition? Good storytelling.
Or is it something deeper about us, about our fascination with the unseen? Or maybe, as some folks believe, is there actually something more to these Bhoot Ki Kahanyan than just legend?
Definitely something to mull over.